How you doing, my friends? And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Where to Start. Literally and honestly, this is actually one of my favorite shows to do here on the Jovenshire channel, so I really appreciate that you guys are watching, and I hope that you not only like the show, but have actually taken a chance to read some of the comics that we talk about here on the show. Now, if this is the first episode that you're watching, welcome. Here on Where to Start, we like to look at some of the more popular superheroes and supervillains and just comic book characters out there and be like, hey, you like this character, but you don't know where to start in the comics? Well, we got you covered. Pretty easy. Now, it is also very easy to see that not only have superheroes taken over the big screen, but also comic books have taken over the smaller screen. That's right, just every other new TV show that pops up these days seems to have its origin based in a comic book, and not even just TV shows. Sometimes it's on streaming networks. I think they just announced Hawkeye is getting his own live action show on Disney Plus. I'm excited. I want to know more about that show. We are talking about Hawkeye today. We are talking about, though, 3 other popular TV shows that have its origins rooted in comic books. Some of them superheroes, some of them not superheroes, but they're some of my favorite shows and some of my favorite comics. So, before we jump into that, I just want to say, if you like this video, please hit that subscribe button, because if you like this one, I guarantee you're going to like the other videos that we do here. Also, sign up for notifications, because you aren't going to want to miss the thing. That's right, I'm quoting Aerosmith. Let's jump right into the first show. Boom! One of my favorite things in just general are zombies. I will argue, any person that says like zombies are played out, I don't agree with that. I will argue every time. I think I want more zombie video games, I want more zombie movies, TV shows, all of that. So needless to say, I'm a huge fan of The Walking Dead, TV show and comics. Now yes, we are looking at 9 seasons of The Walking Dead, and that's not including its first spinoff, Fear the Walking Dead, and there's now talks of another Walking Dead spinoff show. And then there's also The Talking Dead, which became very popular. Anyways, so the show is popular and there's a lot of it. But if you want to get into the comics for a different take on the story, I couldn't recommend it more. I'm actually a huge fan of the comics, obviously, because I've already said that I love zombies. But I collect all the hardcover issues of these, because they'll come out about twice a year, and it's a great way to catch up all the way through. The first 6 issues of The Walking Dead comics actually make up the whole first season of the TV show. Now, if you're thinking like, oh, okay, well, if the first 6 issues equal the first season, then it's probably a faithful adaptation all the way through. And if you thought that, well, then you're just wrong. In fact, you're very, very, very wrong. The TV show eventually goes into very different directions. Different characters survive, different characters die. There's a lot of different things in the TV show. So if you want to read the comics, expect a very different adventure. Now, yes, there will be some events that kind of coincide, and you're like, ah, yes, I remember how they did this in the comics, and it was much better there. Another thing I will note about the comics is that they're all black and white. At first, that kind of threw me off, because I'm a big art first, story second person when it comes to the comics, and sometimes the art can get a little jarring with the black and white style, because someone will be making like this shocked and horrified face when in actuality they're just laughing at a joke, and you're like, no, they look like they were terrified. So that happens, but once you get past that, the story is just so well written. Robert Kirkman did a great job with not only how to survive a zombie apocalypse, but how to survive the humans in the apocalypse. So the character development's great. There are moments, again, going back to how well written it is, one of my issues, actually, there's a little watermark, like an actual watermark on one of the pages, because I shed a tear so big and thick that when it landed on the paper, it stained the paper with my tear. For those of you that have seen the show, you can probably guess what moment it was, and you'd be probably right. There's a 50-50 chance that you're right. Anyways, they were such a fun read. I enjoyed every moment, every page. So it's great. If you like The Walking Dead, even if you didn't like The Walking Dead, but you like zombies, read the comics. Better than the show. I like the show, but the comics are great. Read. Just read. Now, y'all know that I like Batman. I already did Batman Where to Start. So I like Batman, and I like Nightwing, and I like Teen Titans. So it is pretty safe to say that I love Dick. And even in the show Titans, which I did not think that I was gonna like, based off the first trailer, I actually found the show to be quite tolerable. Was it the best superhero show on television? No. Was it fun and interesting and very different from the source material? Yes. And like I already mentioned, I like when shows go in a different direction than the source material. I like that. I'm into it. So eventually, yes, I got on the bandwagon with Titans. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's fun to watch. I do think that Doom Patrol is better, but I don't know the comics well enough to actually do a where to start on that yet, so that's why we're talking about Titans. So even if you like the cartoons of Teen Titans, then like Teen Titans Go, or just the normal Teen Titans cartoon that we all grew up with, it's just an even better reason to jump into the Teen Titans comics. Now, if you're wondering where to start with those, I would highly recommend the new Teen Titans that actually got started in the 1980s with Marv Wolfman. That name is just badass. That's reason enough to read these comics. Now, what you might not know is before that, the Teen Titans weren't really that popular. So this is where it really became like the big cool Teen Titans that you know. In the first 8 issues of the new Teen Titans, you actually see the team that we know now as the Teen Titans. That's where they form and get together. We even have Deathstroke introduced, and we get our first battle with Raven's dad, Trigon. So you literally get all of that in the first 8 issues. So if you want to get into Teen Titans comics, that's where to start. Hands down, start there and then just read all of the new Teen Titans because you'll love it. So the final show that we were talking about that has its origin in comic books is one that's kind of new, and I am all for it. The Umbrella Academy. I've talked about this in a video before. I thought the Netflix series was fantastic. I can't wait for season 2, and it got me going back to read the comics as well. And if you like the show, you're gonna like the comics also. Now, what's kind of interesting is when the Umbrella Academy was first released on Netflix, it actually wasn't well received. Some people loved it, half the people hated it because there were it was very different from the comics. And we're talking like Watchmen levels of different from the source material. I don't think that's a bad thing, but it might have irked a few people. Now, differences, it didn't really have a lot of differences that affected the main story and the plot, but the tone and just, it's different. So if you liked what you saw on the Netflix show, you could read the comic books and have a very different experience. And like a small example of like things that are a little bit different is Cha-Cha and Hazel. Like they were there the whole time in the show. They don't even show up until the second book series. So there's just a lot more in the comics. I can't stress enough that if you like the show, definitely jump and read in these comics. More importantly, it's created and written by My Chemical Romance Gerard Way. And anytime I can support that man, I'm all for it. So if you like the Netflix show, read Umbrella Academy. You will be very surprised on how different and similar at the same time it is. It'll just give you a different take and a different look into this world that I already think is brilliantly put together in the Netflix show. So it's just kind of like, if you want to be a better fan, read the comic book. And that goes for all these shows here. That goes for everything I talk about on Where to Start. I'm here to help make you guys better fans if you're just watching something or learning about a character for the first time, whether it be on the big screen or the littler screen, or sometimes you're watching on your phone. So that's what I'm all about this time around. We will go back to doing why we're singles. We're going to go back to Where to Start's the normal way where we just name one character. But every now and then we're going to do an episode like this where I'm like, hey, here's the theme, here's some comic books that you need to read. So that's just me, but now I want to talk to you guys. What other TV shows have made you more curious about those characters in the comics? Let me know down below, and maybe we'll do a second version of comic book TV shows in the near future, or just what other superheroes or supervillains or just comic book characters do you want us to cover here on Where to Start. That's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, notifications, all that. I see the battery. It's blinking, so this video might stop soon. So anyways, I'm done. Thank you for watching. Till the next time, I'll see you later.